What's up everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name is Albert and today I'm really excited to present you totally new feature we added with 26.8 version, the Popup Builder. This is something that many of you voted for, so I really hope you're gonna like it. In this video, I would like to discuss the available options for the Popup Builder and finally create a simple pop-up so you can see how simple and fun it is. And if you didn't subscribe the channel yet, please click that small button down there below. Okay, so let's not waste any more time and let's get down to the business. The Popup Builder is based on well-known B-Builder, so if you didn't had any chance to meet the B-Builder yet, I will leave you the link to the video in the left top corner as always. Let's move on to discussing the Popup Builder options. To create pop-up, the same as in the case of creating a header, mega menu or footer, please go to Templates tab in the WordPress admin and click Add New. From the list that appears in the model, choose Pop-up and also name the template for easy follow-up. After filling the fields, click Create Template button. This is where the pop-up is being built. The elements available for building a pop-up are exactly the same as in the case of building any page using the B-Builder, so we will not look at them in this tutorial. What interests us in particular are the options for design and triggering available for the pop-up only. You will find them under Popup Options tab. The first tab is Settings. Here we can set position for the pop-up. There is 9 positions available you can choose from. Next, you can choose Display Trigger. Here we can choose if we want to display pop-up on start with delay, where you can set extra delay in seconds, or maybe on page exit, after scroll, where you can set extra scroll offset in pixels, and finally, after scroll to element, where you can define if you want pop-up to appear when specific ID or class is met. If that's not enough, you can trigger a pop-up after clicking on any button. The second option is Entrance Animation. Here we can choose from several different animations like fade in, zoom in, fading up, fading down, fading left or fading right. You can also set none if you don't like entrance animations at all. The third option is Display Rules. Here you can choose if you want the pop-up to appear every time, only once, or once every few days, which after select you can define after how many days the pop-up should show again. Please note that this option is based on cookies. The fourth option is Refer Rules. Default option means that the pop-up will appear to anyone. Besides this option, from the drop-down select, you can choose if you want to display pop-up to users who came on site from services like Google, Facebook or Instagram. The next option is Close Rules. Here you can choose between 2 options. Default means that the pop-up will close as soon as user click the close button. The second option lets you set after how many seconds the pop-up should disappear. The next option is Close Button. Here you can decide if you want the close button to be visible or hidden. As soon as you choose visible, another option will appear. Before the last one option is Close Button Appear Rules. Default says that the close button will appear with the pop-up, but the second option lets you set after how many seconds the close button should appear for the pop-up. And finally, the last option is Close on Overlay Click. This option allows you to close the pop-up on clicking outside the pop-up area or via the close button only. If you liked the video so far, don't forget to click the like button to feed the dragon with the algorithm. Thank you. The second tab is Design. Here you can style how the pop-up should look like. This tab has 3 sub-tabs: Pop-up, Overlay and Close button. The first option in first tab is width. Here you can choose between default, size of the pop-up will adjust to the elements inside, full width, and custom. You can set up own custom width of the pop-up. Then we can set things like offset, padding, border radius, and background color. The second subtab is overlay. This one has only two options: background overlay and blur. This is the background color for the outside of the pop-up. In addition to the color, you can also set the background transparency here. Within the blur slider, you can easily adjust the amount of blur for the background to make it less visible or completely invisible until the pop-up is closed. The third subtab is close button. As the name says, here we can style the close button. In this section, we can set things like button alignment, left or right, button size, icon size, vertical offset, horizontal offset, and border radius. In addition, we can color button icon and button background in two different states: normal and hover, which is a great option, by the way. That's it for the options available for the pop-up. So now, let's move on to creating a simple pop-up with graphic inside, the call to action, and close buttons. Let me show you how quick and easy it is to create your own pop-up. Let's jump into my screen then. Okay, let me start from adding the section first, and now we can move to Popup Options to style it a bit. So I will leave this centered option as I want my pop-up to appear centered. And then I want my pop-up to be displayed on page start, so this option is fine. I want the entrance animation to be fading up. Display rules every time. I don't care about refer rules right now. Close rules as well. Close button I want to be visible. Close button appear rules I will leave by default. And close on overlay click I will leave disabled. Okay, let's move on to the design tab. Here I want to set the custom width. Let's say I want it to be 407 pixels. The offset I want to be set to 0. The padding I want to be set to 0 as well. And I want the border radius to be 24 pixels. Perfect. Next, let's set the background color. All right. And now let's maybe set the background overlay as well, as I would need it for my page, because I want the background to be a little darkened. So to set it to RGBA, I need to set it to the black color, and I want to set the transparency to maybe 0.3. Yes, exactly. That's perfect right now. And the blur can be 0. I don't care about it right now. Let's move on to the close button then. Here I want the button to be aligned to right, just like it is right now. I want the button size to be 30 pixels, icon size 16, vertical offset I want to be 16 pixels, horizontal offset I want to be 16 pixels as well, and maybe the border radius I will leave the 3 pixels. That's great. What else we can set is the color for the close button. So I saw in my project there was something kind of dark brown, and that would be fine right now. Alright, so we can move to adding the elements inside our pop-up. And I want all the content inside for this tutorial to be full width, so I will be using full width wrap. Okay, and here I'm going to add the image, as it's gonna be my first element inside the pop-up. And let's find the image. It's that one. Perfect. As you can see, this image is just not sticky to the sides. It's just because there is a default padding or margin. I don't remember right now, but if I will go to the advanced and spacing tab, I think that's the right option. So what I have to do right now is set 0 pixels for the right, bottom and left margin. Let's move to the second element, and the second is gonna be heading, and I will change the default heading to the one that my colleague prepared for the purpose of this pop-up tutorial. And I want it to be H2, default center. Okay, that's it here. And now we can move to the style tab. And I want the text to be aligned centered. What else I want is I want it to be a bit different color, and it's again the dark brown. That's great. And also let's set the typography. So I want the font size to be 24 pixels, line height to be 32 pixels, font weight to be 700, and the font family I would like to use for this project is the Poppins. Alright, let's move on to adding the other element, and it's gonna to be a kind of promotional code that I would like to offer, for example, to the visitors. So let's find another heading, and first of all I want to change its title to be the Bookie 2023. Alright, and now let's move to the style tab to style it a bit. So I want this code to be centered, and also I want it to be the white color. And let's also change some typography. Here I want the font size to be 24 pixels, line height 32 pixels, font weight to be 500, letter spacing to be 3 pixels. And also I want to change the font family to the font I've already used above, and it's gonna be Poppins as well. Okay, that's fine. What else I want to set right now is the border around this text, as I want it to look like a code. So let's move on to the advanced tab, and first of all let's set the border. So I want the border to be solid, the border color I want to be white, the border width I want to be 1 pixels for each, the border radius 8 pixels for each, and that's basically it. I think I need to also set some spacing to make just a bit more space around. So let's maybe set 8 pixels for the top, 16 for the right, 8 for the bottom, and 16 for the left. Looks way much better now. I just forgot to set 24 pixels for the bottom margin as well. And what I want to do right now, I don't want this border around the Bookie 2023 to be the full width. I just want this border to be around the text. So in this case, what I have to do is go to the Dimensions tab and change the width to inline. That's perfect. That's basically what I wanted to do, but as you can see, the button has aligned to the left side. It's because I forgot to center all content inside this wrap, and the option I have to check is in the Advanced tab of the wrap, where all elements are. In the Positioning tab, I have to set this element horizontal alignment to be centered. And as soon as I set this option, my code will be centered. Okay, so as this is ready, we can move to the other element, and it's gonna be the button. I'm just going to add 2 buttons. The first one, this one I'm going to add right now, is gonna look like a button, but the other will be looking a bit different, but I'm going to show you why. So first of all, let's change the title for the button, and it's gonna to be just information for the users that they got the code and they just can click it and close the pop-up button. And let's move to the style tab. I want this button to be centered as well, just like the whole rest of the content. And in the button tab, I'm going to make some adjustments, like I'm going to set 16 pixels for the top padding, 32 pixels for the right, 16 for the bottom again, and 32 for the left. So what left is the background color, as the current one doesn't fit to the rest. So I'm going to set this kind of the brown dark color I've already set for the close pop-up button and the text above. So it's gonna be 41392A color. And there is one thing I just forgot to mention, and I'm going to do it right now. So if we want this button, I got it, to close the pop-up. So if you are on the page and the visitor just want to close the pop-up, not with the close button in the right top corner, but with this I got it button, we have to go back to the content tab, and at the bottom in the advanced tab, there is an option functional button. And here we have to choose that we want this action to be done on the button click, and we want to just close the pop-up. And that's basically everything you have to do if you want the visitor to close the pop-up with after click on I got it button. Alright, so as we have this button right now, we can add another one just underneath, but like I said before, it's not going to look like a button, but just like a text. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to change the title to "No, thank you, I have a code." And as I don't want it to look like a button, what I have to do right now is go to the Style tab, and in the button, for the background color, I have to change this transparency to 0. And now I have just a plain text, which is what I wanted to do. Right, and what else I want to do right now here is I want it to be centered. All right, and also I want to change its color. And again, I have to go back to the button tab, and here I'm going to set the color of the text for the button to be 9871C. That's great. This is exactly what I wanted to set. As you see, there is too much empty space between the I got it button and no thank you information underneath. So what I have to do now is go to the advanced tab of that I got it button, and in the spacing tab I have to set 0 pixels for the bottom margin, because by default there is something kind of 30 pixels or something like that. And after changing this margin to 0, it looks way much better. So basically there's one more thing I just forgot. For this button that doesn't look like a button, I just forgot to set the function. So as soon as I will go back to the content tab, I just want to close the pop-up after clicking on that information. And I just already published this page, so what I see right now is the green update button, and as soon as I click this update button or publish, it doesn't matter, you will see a modal that appears and where you can set a condition for this pop-up. And here, after clicking on add condition button, you can choose if you want to include or exclude maybe entire site, archives like posts, or maybe singular pages like the pages you have already on your site. And what I want to do right now is I want to include it for entire site, and that's basically it. We can now go to the page, and as soon as we open the page, the pop-up will appear. This is just what we've already created. And right now, it doesn't matter if we will close this pop-up with the close button or just I got it button, it will just be closed and saves the cookies. And just let me to refresh this page to show you that we can close this button with no thank you, I have a code as well. And if we refresh it again, we can close this pop-up with the close button. So that's what exactly I wanted to show you in this tutorial, and I hope it's all clear now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any feedback regarding the Popup Builder, feel free to leave me a comment down there below in the comments section. As always, thanks for watching, and remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified every time we release a new video. If you have more questions, please visit our support center at support.muffingroup.com.